And it's important when you hear the soundbite to listen to the tone. Sometimes you'll see words written down. You're like, that's harsh. I mean, people on Twitter, they don't even have a sarcasm emoji. I've said things before. Years and years ago, I said something about Adam Gase winning Super Bowls. Totally sarcastic. Joy's here. Totally tongue-in-cheek. People took it seriously. It's like there's no sarcasm emoji. Like they say 10 to 12% of America doesn't get sarcasm. So tone matters. This is not mean-spirited by Ryan Tanehill. He's not taking a shot at the quarterback the Titans just drafted, Malik Willis. But he did say this.
We're competing against each other. We're watching the same tape. We're doing the same drills. I don't think it's my job to mentor him, but if he learns from me along the way, then that's a great thing.
It's not his job to develop his replacement. There's only about 32 starting quarterback jobs in the NFL. Some fluctuate week to week. But for veteran quarterbacks, and Tannehill's a sneaky old 34, the average salary is $27 million. Yeah, I'm not going to give that up anytime soon. Here's a guy, they just traded his star receiver. He's sneaky old. He's been hurt before. They just drafted his replacement. Ryan Tannehill's fighting for his life and fighting for his career. He just lost a home playoff game, admitted he had to go to therapy. He is fighting for himself and fighting for his career. It's not his job to develop his replacement. Some of you are naive. I love bringing young people on and assisting them. I'm not developing them to replace me. This is a good job. Not many like it. You can be two things at once. You can be a great teammate. Malik asks you a question, give him an answer. Has a great practice, put your arm around him. This is great, man. You're doing a great job. But I'm not developing you to steal my job. Because companies, including NFL teams, all companies are developing a kind of bench where eventually they'd like to find somebody they can pay a third to a half of what you make. Doesn't matter if you're a landscaper or a talk show host and get the same production. They'd love to find Uncle Colin's replacement and then pay him a third of what they paid me. Of course they would. All companies want to do that. So in the end, what Ryan Tannehill is saying is I can be two things. I can be good in the film room. I can be a good guy. We can put it in your locker next to me. But I got one of the 32 best jobs in America. I'm not going to develop my heir apparent. Also, teams in the NFL and all sports teams don't like, even star players, they don't like players getting in their personnel. We'll draft who we want to draft. You stay over there. Now, occasionally, a star player, Aaron Rodgers or LeBron James, has so much power, you got to let him have a say, right? I want Randall Cobb. Okay, we'll get Randall Cobb. I want Russell Westbrook. Okay, we'll get Russell Westbrook. But teams don't like that. So teams do not want players to get into their personnel business. So why the hell should Ryan Tannehill have to develop players? Let's just draw a line. You develop and draft, I play. But you can't ask a player to develop players. That's a team's job and a coaching staff's job. That's not a player's job. By the way, Aaron Rodgers was bothered by the mere suggestion that he could be replaced by a quarterback from Utah State. Tom Brady got Jimmy Garoppolo to the left coast. He got him out of town. And those guys are superstars. Ryan Tannehill's fighting for his career. He's been hurt. He's 34. He finally gets a great head coach in Mike Vrabel. He finally gets non-chaos out of Miami. He finally gets a legitimate general manager. He finally gets a division he can win. He didn't have Tom Brady in it in the AFC East. He's finally in a playoff environment. And they trade a star receiver. They draft a quarterback. And we're all like, well, yeah, just bring him in. Take your job. Folks, I'm going to be scratching and clawing. This microphone is going to yank me off the set. I'm going to be holding on to this thing. And Ryan Tannehill and anybody that's worked really hard and achieved something has a right to not develop their replacement. There you go. So I'm defending selfish Ryan Tannehill and too hard a foul Dylan Brooks today. And I am here for it and completely satisfied with where I went on that. And it's very important when he tackled him. Nobody's talking about that. He tackled him very early in the game. Like right out of the chute. Why was that? Because they were sending a message. We may be kids. Golden State, you're not pushing us around. Payback for Draymond. I heard this all day, all night this morning. There is no room for what Dylan Brooks did. There actually is some room for it. It's called the Bad Boy Pistons and Ray Lewis's Baltimore Ravens. There's all sorts of room for aggressiveness, semi-violence, intimidation, sticking up for yourself. You know I love the Warriors and Draymond Green, but y'all out there glamorizing the good old days of the NBA. This was 1992. They've done 30 for 30s on moves like that. You know what they never did a 30 for 30 on? The Denver Nuggets that scored 130 a night. Fat Lever, Dan Issel, Alex English. Y'all never did a 30 for 30 on that. They were pretty. You did it on the Knicks, who had no guys that could shoot in the Pacers series. Like two guys in the series, one of them, Reggie Miller, could shoot. They tackled each other. 30 for 30. Bad Boy Pistons, 30 for 30. MJ punched Steve Kerr, glamorized it. Oh, he knocked him down. He got hurt. Yeah, I don't want guys to get hurt. But you're the ones doing 30 for 30s. All the pretty, that Steve Nash Phoenix Suns team, where's the 30 for 30 for that? They were beautiful. There's also rules set up. So when you do this, there's a reason they have a flagrant 2, because it happens all the time. It happens all the time, and then you get punished for it. This didn't come out of nowhere. It came out of defending yourself. That's why Dylan Brooks did it right out of the gate. We're going to set the tone real early. You did that to our guy, we're going to do this to your guy. Now, Steve Kerr didn't like it, thought it was over the line. Here's the Warriors head coach.
I don't know if it was intentional, but it was dirty. And, playoff basketball it's supposed to be physical. Everybody's going to compete. Everybody's going to fight for everything. But there's a code in this league. There's a code that players follow, where you never put a guy's season/career in jeopardy by taking somebody out in midair and clubbing him across the head and ultimately fracturing Gary's elbow. Broke the code. Dylan Brooks broke the code.
Codes get hacked all the time. And there's punishment for those who hack the code. But let's be honest about the code. The code moves a lot. It's sort of like America now has very flexible morality depending on what side of the political spectrum you're on. Your morals aren't mine. Your code isn't mine. Baseball's got a million unwritten rules. Yes, there's a code. You don't want to end a career. Nobody's career was ended. But Memphis is going to lose this series because Golden State gets so many great open looks. Last night, they were 7 for 38 on threes. The Warriors will win this series, but what was introduced last night was intensity, which the NBA sorely lacks in the regular season and needs more of. It was very big brother and little brother. And I don't like to see athletes get hurt. It was a very, very hard foul. But nobody intended for a player to go to the hospital when you hard foul them. But I've sat and talked to athletes like Meta, Ray Lewis, and they're like, I like to make men cringe. I like that sound when I hurt a guy. I know it's uncomfortable for your children watching now, but this is professional sports, not little league, and intimidation's a big part of it. And what Memphis was saying is, no. We're at our house. We're down. We saw the Draymond thing, and you know I love Draymond, but we're going to send a message. We may be kids. We may be the little brothers. We're not going to let you pick on us. We're going to set the tone real early in this game. And they did, and they're going to have a player thrown out. But there's a reason the league has this, because they deal with it all the time. There's a reason the NFL has a roughing the passer penalty. Personal foul penalties, because players cross the line. Break the code. All the time. Break the code. I mean, Draymond Green got hurt, jabbed in the eye, banged up, a very physical player. And they were cheering that when he left the court. So, by the way, the fans were saying, you pushed us, we push you, we're even. Here was Draymond after.
You're going to boo someone that get elbowed in the eye and blood running down your face? I could have had a concussion or anything. So if they're gonna be that nasty, I can be nasty too. And I'm assuming the cheers was because they know I'll get fined. Great, I make $25 million a year. I should be just fine.
He makes $25 million a year. He can just be fine. Folks, we have a series. One of the oldest teams is playing one of the youngest teams, and this was inevitable. That the old team was going to try to intimidate the young team, take advantage of their lack of nuance, and the young team was going to be like, no, we're not going to have any of that. We know we're flawed, but we're not going to have any of that. And we have a series. And codes get broken, and I never root for anybody to get hurt. And I cannot wait to watch Game 3 in the Bay Area. But this is sports. This is what we do 30 for 30s for. This is what we glamorize. Michael Jordan's teammates often said he was brutal, harsh, a blank hole. He punched the teammate. He got guys fired. He got tackled. Michael Jordan, early in his career, literally after losing to the Pistons again, realized, I got to get stronger and bigger. Spent an entire offseason putting on 10 pounds of muscle. He's like, they're going to tackle me. Regardless of what the rules are, they can't stop me. They're going to tackle me. So I just got to get ready for the cushion. I got to get ready. I got to get bigger. I got to get stronger. I got to deal with it. This is part of sports intimidation, defending your